Alright, so if you're gonna be taking your dog on a bike ride, you have to make sure you have a few things down. Because, dogs are really powerful. So you want to make sure your bike is in good condition for both you and your dog to be safe. So first of all, you want to make sure you have good tread on your tires. And also make sure they're pumped properly. So, back brakes are really, really important. You make sure your back brakes are tight. Like, the way I keep it is halfway down, the brakes are... Oh, damn, that messed up. Okay. Halfway down, the brakes are... They're on. They're engaged. And then just the more I do, the tighter the brakes get around the wheel. And the reason why I have that done is because, say, if my dog's pulling me really hard, what I usually say is slow down to get him to slow down, and I'll start pressing the brakes. Say if he gets distracted, I'll press him the halfway, which will get him to slow down, and then I press him tighter so that he stops. Having the back brakes clamped onto the tires really tight also helps, because when your dog's pulling when you don't want him to pull, the bike doesn't move. Make sure there's not a lot of rust around your... It's not a big priority, but I've been sanding off a lot of the rust because, I was starting to get on my clothes. It's not really something important for your dog, but, Front brakes, I don't have front brakes. What happened was my bike fell and they broke. But my back brakes are tight enough for me to make do with just the back brakes. Make sure you have grips on your handles. And make sure they're not sliding or whatsoever. They're not twisting on the handles, because you don't want your grips twisting while you're holding on to them tight. Also, make sure your chain doesn't change all of a sudden. That's one big thing, because if your chain changes all of a sudden, then that may cause your foot to slip off of the pedal, which can make you fall, because your foot will end up touching the ground, and it'll disrupt your handling. It'll disrupt a lot of things. And also make sure you have proper pedals. If you still have the normal plastic ones that the bikes usually come with, those are fine. Just make sure they're not breaking. What happened with mine was they were starting to break from here, and this part was broken off, so your foot starts slipping off of it easily. So I changed them to aluminum ones that have some nice grip on them to make sure that my feet stay on it. My feet don't slip off anymore. Sometimes even with the plastic ones, your feet slip off. They don't anymore. If you're gonna go maybe on trails with your dog, then you'll be going uphill, downhill a lot. So you want to make sure that even if you are going to stand on your bike, only stand on your bike after you have good enough practice with riding your bike with your dog. You're gonna need good pedals. So that's about it. Make sure your tires aren't messed up. Oh yeah, the reason why your tires need to be properly inflated is because the first time I took my dog, first time I took Casper, after the winter finished, after it was good enough weather to take him out, I didn't check my tire pressure. My tire pressure was actually really, really low. And the problem with that was, with a lot of weight, they would go down a lot. And so when we turn, the sides would actually squish in. So it would make my tire move to the side even more. And I actually almost fell off a few times. Now, with this whole thing, if anything's broken off, I sealed it off because it has scratched me. If you get scratched with something, you're going to take your hand off of it. And that's going to maybe disrupt your performance. Also, reflectors are important. You do have a dog. So if you are going to take your dog out when it's kind of starting to get dark outside, you want to make sure you have reflectors, because then the car will see you. Also, you have to make sure you can ride your bike with one hand, because if you have your dog on your bike and you're riding and someone comes, you're gonna have to take one hand off to grab on to his leash, to keep his or her leash, to keep your dog close to you. That's what I do with Casper. So if there's someone coming, I will grab onto his leash and just hold it. I'll sometimes grab onto his leash enough so that he's closer to me, but not too much so that he's getting pulled off, and just have the leash in my hand and grab onto the handle too. But I could ride with one hand, so usually I just have one hand here and then the other hand holding onto his leash. Where you guys can choose, you guys could buy attachments to attach the attachments for your dog, biking with your dog, are much safer. What they do is they'll attach here somewhere, and what it is there'll be like a huge pole sticking up, and then there's a huge spring, and now what that spring does is it takes up the shock from him pulling and stuff. That way you could have both hands on the handles while riding with him, and he's not pulling your handle side to side. It also disrupts the shock. But if you don't want to buy that, I don't put him on the handle. What I do is I'll put him right here. As you can see, it's worn out because I put him there. So this just scratching off focus. Oh my god, horrible. Okay, I'm using my phone right now. So yeah, I'll put him here, and I'll have the leash. I show it in the video when I take him for a bike ride. You might have watched that video before this one, or you're watching this one before that one. But it's around here, and then I have it going around my wrist, and I have it around my wrist here, coming down around this to my dog. And these are just some precautions I'm telling you to take, because taking your dog on your bike may be dangerous, because it's unpredictable what your dog is going to do. So make sure to stay safe and have a good time riding with your dog.